Hey friends, in today's video, I'm going to go over my Hunter builds. I'm going to start with Dim and transfer over all the weapons. Been continuing on this from yesterday's Warlock video, and then the Titan video before that. Here's how I break down my Dim organization. I'll label it Season 20, just any PvP build that I find somewhat interesting, and then as I finalize it, it'll be given a slot name here that I will add in-game, exactly as it appears in Dim. And so if I have to do PvE farming or Iron Banner or something like that, I'll overwrite it and then later put it back how it was before. So it's very nice. I try to transfer over weapons that can deal with any situation, not just the best weapons for the specific loadout. So these are all the weapons that it throws over, and I'll talk about them more in the video, but I do want to go through all the builds. This one's number 10. This is the a certified banger. I'm not going to try to pronounce that. The important thing about this helmet, though, is it gives increased flinch resistance. And that is the entire reason that I built this. I know that I have a mere 2 resilience, but that's because that is what the meta calls for. I need 10 mobility, and I want 10 recovery. So I can't also have resilience. I have to let the recovery go. I will be losing way too many gunfights if I try to get even more flinch resistance, because I'm not going to be able to take more gunfights because of less recovery. The trade-off is just too much. That's what I'm trying to say. So I built this to abuse Dead Man's Tale, just like the Lion Rampant build on my Titan. You throw a grapple, and with Threat of Ascent, you get airborne effectiveness. You get Woven Mail, less body shot damage to you, and increased flinch resistance, which is amazing on hipfire weapons. So I ran it with DMT. This is my favorite build in the game. I will say that. My absolute favorite build in the game right now. Is it broken? Yes, probably. If I want my opponents to dislike me, I use it with a grenade launcher. But I have been sky sniping lately. It's not one of my 20 weapons. But you go search air assault in Dim, and you're going to see that the Albruna sniper has air assault, as well as if I go elemental capacitor on Strand, that's an extra 20 airborne effectiveness. But air assault's great because it gives a plus 30 for just getting a kill. So the loop is use that air assault Albruna, get a grounded kill, then immediately grapple and go for a montage snipe. And it works so consistently. That is why it's fun. I feel like I'm learning some new way to break my opponent's ankles. I can have my own top 10 list after just a day of playing. It's so much fun. Then I tried it with Last Word. I had a hunch. Which, by the way, I don't have Lucky Pants set up here, do I? Yeah, I don't. Lucky Pants is somewhere dormant in this list. Because I found out I'm a better shot with less flinch than a better shot with more accuracy. Last Word hits with this helmet. This is my most used gun in the game. I was using it way before the tracker existed. So now I am flying through the air, sky sniping people, switching to Last Word, throwing a grapple to reload of my Last Word, getting instant swap speed between the two because of Threat of Ascent. It's just, kinetic is the word to describe it. It flows from one action to the next. I can deal with entire teams with Gambler Dodge Rope Dart. Shoot him twice with Last Word, throw the Rope Dart. It tags 70s through a crowd. Now you play 5-finger fillet with the Last Word, keep popping heads. It drops a Tangle because I have Threat of Transmutation whenever I pop the grapple. Gets Woven Mail, so it makes a Tangle. If I throw the Tangle, I can grapple onto it for free. Or I can just keep grappling onto it for free because Grenade Kickstart refills your grapple. You have 2 charges on it because of Widow Silk. So the way this typically works is you throw your grapple, it makes a grapple point in the sky, and then you just keep tapping grenade button to use grenade kickstart to rebuild it. Or you do what I just said and use the tangle. This is why I run Gambler's Dodge. It's because the rope dart is essential to being able to create a tangle out of nowhere, which is a future abuse to recharge your grapple back to 2 stats. So Gambler's Dodge works double duty. It fixes my build when I mistakenly use a grapple, and then it also works with Ensnaring Slam. So this is your air move, dives you to the floor and suspends people right when you hit them. And it's jarring. This is like Shatter Dive levels of busted. I think it's really, really strong. I don't know why it suppresses you. Isn't that Void's thing? That being said, we'll talk about that another day. I use Thread of Mind to replenish some of that class ability energy since I am using the longer charge. And finally, Finality, no pun intended, because I just want the stats. It's worth mentioning Utility Kickstart here is extremely important because it does recharge off of the dive. I did not know this. Or it's distribution working. It's probably Utility Kickstart though. Then I still have distribution and I still have Dynamo to try to get closer to my super so that I can be disappointed when I use my super. My advice for that super is just to try to make your opponents waste their entire magazine. Then you do the the Ensnaring Slam. Then you hit them with the rope. Don't try to just run directly at them with the rope. It's not a good idea. Just be evasive and slam them. So yeah, favorite build in the entire game. That's why we're starting off hot with that one. Now let me talk about what got some new toys. Conditional Finality, absolute game changer. I'm going to tell you why. Gunpowder Gamble. Throw a solar explosive that can be shot midair to cause an ignition. That sounds familiar, almost like I've been doing that for years with trip mines. Anyhow, you need to defeat targets with solar, whether weapon or ability, to build up stacks of Gunpowder Gamble until you get max stacks. Then you have an extra pipe bomb that you can shoot in the air. It's not very good. It has low fragment slots, but it's badass. And that's the only reason that I will run it. This one wavers on being a fun build for me and an effective build. My teammates are never allowed to complain about me using Gunpowder Gamble because even they admit it's badass. Then the other one is Knock 'em Down. While Radiant, your throwing knife gets refunded. I think weighted throwing knife is way too free right now not to use, so I use that. If it ever gets a nerf, I'm switching to Knife Trick, because that one's just very enjoyable to me. But it also procs a lot of Scorch interactions on these fragments. I'm pretty much using these for stats. Torches I need to refund my knife. Searing, Fire Sprite, and Recovery. And then this one is Fire Sprite, Restoration, Revive, but also Resilience. Sure, I don't need this resilience, but these two kind of work in tandem with each other. Now, I used to go for 10 Discipline, just to have as many opportunities to shoot a trip mine out of the air for fun. But then I started liking Golden Gun more than Blade Barrage, so now I have to run Intellect. And if I'm running Intellect, I am running Double Distribution and Double Dynamo. Conditional Finality procs Gunpowder Gamble stacks in the kinetic slot. So if I had another shotgun in the kinetic slot, no, it does not count. Even on the Stasis Bullet, Conditional Finality counts. I use a Quick Draw Igneous Hammer since I do not run On Your Mark, which essentially does the same thing. I also use a Frenzy Borrowed Time, although my Swashbuckler one would also be good. And my reasoning is Gemini Jester helps proc Frenzy. Frenzy helps me beat target lock SMGs just outright. And I can run a Surge here if I want to. SMG, you always run a Surge on Aggressive Frame SMG to tip it to the next time to kill. Since I cannot reach 7 or 8 Resilience, I just take the next lowest, which is 2. And then I get plus 10 from the Fragment. Drang if I play controller. There is not a kinetic version of the build, because now that Conditional Finality exists, it's kind of throwing not to have Gunpowder Gamble stacks count in 2 different slots. I guess 3 if I use my Outrageous Fortune. You can get this from Dares, remote detonation. I use it for threat detector so I can see through the wall when I see an opponent. And then Gemini Jester to rip their radar. Here's another Gemini Jester build, except this one takes advantage of Rose. This is an Arc Strider build. Feedback, because I want to do more melee damage when I get meleeed. Instinct, jolts when I'm damaged, which matters with these aspects, so that my melee blinds jolted targets. Spark of Momentum, so that I can reload while sliding. I don't really want the melee recharge portion of this. I just want to be able to reload my guns, since if you look at these, abysmal reload stat. Extended mag, abysmal reload stat. Also helps with conditional finality if I go that route. And then a Jolt Nade so that I can hit other barricades and cause Jolt off of the barricade. I will switch this nade up as I play more. I have a 9 discipline or a 10 discipline version of this, so whenever I want to practice flux grenades, it's there for me. I run Tempest Strike even though it does not agree with the art team. Just it does not travel on the floor correctly sometimes. But on a rare occasion, it does hit. It hits the whole team. Fantastic. If I play controller though, I kind of just don't overthink it and I run flow state and I run auto melee. Can't show you my binds right now. But I run separate melee binds right now on MNK. So this is my daily driver Rose, moving target, explosive payload. Although in my vaults, remember I said I transferred weapons just generically, not specific to the loadout. If I want to go specific to the loadout, I have an elemental capacitor Rose that will give me 100 handling and still maintain explosive rounds. But if I had to choose just one Rose to use across all my builds, I like moving target, explosive payload a lot more. I could also go like slide shot rangefinder too, something like that. Maybe even ditch momentum. However, not going to overthink it. This is just there for some variety at a moment's notice. This is my Rose version of my Stasis Revenant. This is going to be real quick on the fragment aspects. Chains for resistance, shards for recharge, durance for extended slow. I run Enhanced Dustfield with Shatter Dive. I don't think this is ever going to change, no matter how much it gets nerfed. This is just like the optimal way to run it, in my opinion. Marksman Dodge if I'm not using Hawkmoon. Gambler's Dodge if I am. The Withering Blade is never used by me. It is pretty much just surplus fuel for something like a Found Verdict. Y'all thought you were mad about my borrowed time drop the other day. Y'all are mad about the Found Verdict too. There goes the dislike ratio. Standard mods, Dynamo distribution. I go for Bomber on specifically Revenant because I want the dust field to keep up with barricades. Then I run Grenade Kickstart and Bolstering Detonation so I can have a nice little combo between my dodge and my grenade. Rose is a lightweight frame, so it's an invisible plus 2 tiers to mobility, so this is 10 whenever I have the gun equipped. I will switch between a lot of different weapons, typically Macabre, and sometimes on certain maps I do like Cloud Strike, and that makes it into my inventory sometimes. Okay, so now we're going to move down this list, where I go from a Rose build to now a Thorn build, or a No Time to Explain build. By the way, a lot of people don't know this, but No Time to Explain will build up the perk on body shots if they're affected by stasis. So No Time to Explain is the superior gun on Revenant, which is why Unflinching Kinetic Aim. But if in a pinch I wanted to use Thorn or like Ace of Spades or something, I could absolutely do that. DMT2. We're going to move down one more time. Then we're going to see that this is the solar setup. So same build 3 different times. Why? Because I like it that much and I think it is one of the most competitive ways to play Hunter. Okay, so these are some new ones to me. Shout out to Drewski for solving Hunter for me. Invis Hunter has been so awkward to play lately with the new build crafting, the new fragment opportunity costs, potential Stompy nerf leak. It's just been so awkward. So this is what I came up with. Vigilance, Devour pickup. So OEM fragment. If I defeat a target when I'm weak, 40 HP overshield. Pick up orb, get Devour. Crouch for enhanced radar and stats. And then stats. I could go enhanced extended Devour or extended Invis, but I don't think that's worth it when the effective radar time of Invis is pretty much the same regardless. You basically get to take advantage of Invis a second time if you take the extension. Drew is so much better at that than I am, so I'm just going to try to stay small brain and just try to win some more 1v2s off of just outliving my opponent. That's the goal with this build. I use Spike Nade most often, but I will switch it to Vortex if it's a bad spike map. And you'll see I have Firepower to give me an opportunity to proc Devour off of that Spike Nade. And then I have Kinetic Dexterity. I start with, let's say, for example, my shotgun. I throw the grenade and then swap to Thorn. And that cancels the throw animation of the nade and allows me to effectively shoot sooner, which makes it more likely that my grenade picks up the kill because they can't get out of the way in time. That makes my orb. Then I get some health back. But typically, right off the rip, I will spawn, activate my class ability, and by the time I'm in my first gunfight, I already have my dodge again, and I've activated a Reaper. So if I get a weapon final blow, spawns an orb of power. So I have created a scenario whenever I throw a nade that I am making a damn orb, and I am going to play aggressively to pick up that orb into the next gunfight, because I will get triple kinetic surge, which powers up my Thorn and allows me to 2-tap everybody. While I have 9 recovery and I don't like that much, I'm willing to drop to 9 mobility because of just how often I have the dodge. I just don't want my strafe to be affected, so I'll play this against some high level teams until I have a problem with it and then reassess it another day. As usual, I have the conditional finality version because I do not want to be surprised when an Antaeus Ward team shows up and I don't have a way to stop it. So you might have noticed that my recovery is a lot higher than last time with the Mechanist Trick Sleeve build. It's so much easier to proc Devour now, because the old way you used to is defeating weakened targets with a precision final blow or getting double kills. Now I can just dodge and get a kill. The problem is with this new system, I can't have sidearm unflinching for both of my guns. So I have to choose, do I want triple on the Drang, a double and a single? I went for a double and a single since Forerunner ammo is limited, and this is way higher resilience than I'm used to. So running 2 with 8 probably feels like 2 with 3. You're following along, I trust. Sometimes I do snipe with Drang. Sometimes I do snipe with Allied Demand. Just depends on how I'm feeling, what the map is, what exactly I'm doing. Am I going to use Lemon Arc? Am I going to use Cloud Strike? All depends on the situation. Mechanist Trick Sleeves are amazing. However, I think for the Invis kit, Frosties do it a little better. This is just a nice little flavor to be in here, kind of like my Arc Strider, just to change it up from time to time. Now, I will say, if I have Devil's Ruin transfer, that shits on Arc Striders in other special situations. So Devil's Ruin might permanently make it into my inventory at some point. Moving on. Well, let's let you see the mods first. Important to say I run holsters here because sometimes I use Devil's Ruin and you can laser, put the laser away, and then 1 second later switch to it and laser again. That's why holsters are good, even though they are baked into Mechanist Trick Sleeves. You don't want to depend on your opponent to shoot you. Okay, and then the final build. I have the correct weapons on, of course. Yeah, I hit the stats blitz I wanted at least. So, void targeting, kinetic targeting. Harmonic dexterity, kinetic dexterity. I'm pretty sure you understand what's happening. Void weapon surge. I don't know if that makes a difference, so I'm going to revisit this. And then just standard hunter stuff. what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to throw an Axiom Bolt and tag him with Lemon Arc at the same time. And if that doesn't work, I swap to Allied Demand. My goal is not to shoot 2 Lemon Arc shots. My goal is to shoot just 1 and be done. This is a dirty build. This is one of Quick Play's most hated builds. And I simply have it in my 10 so that if somebody uses it against me, I can throw it on too. And then they might not queue into me next match. So that I can use something more fun. Like this. I hope you enjoyed this video. I did all these in a batch recording, as you could probably tell, with the sarcasm getting drier and drier. My voice dying. Hope you enjoyed this one. Hunter was the hardest to build for sure. It has more hurdles than the other two. But this is what I landed so far. And out of all the builds, I can say, like, this one's permanent. Conditional Finality, Gunpowder Gamble. It's just too much fun. This one's permanent. It's been a daily driver for years at this point, since Stasis has been released. And this one is staying too. When they add new aspects, I'm pretty confident that I'm not changing anything. This already seems like it has everything it needs. This is a complete kit. Warlock and Titan are just trying to keep up right now. They need that third aspect. Okay, now I can do the outro. Thank you, friends, for watching the video. I will see you in the next one.